Hello. Hi everyone. This is Marina Shepelsky. Hello, and this is my weekly video, my live, really, with you guys talking about immigration news in the U.S. Welcome, happy Wednesday. This is my ritual now every Wednesday morning. I love to see you guys. Hello, Instagram. Gonna log in here while you guys are joining so that I can read your comments in front of me on the computer. A little bit about my own background for my new followers, in case you don't yet know. I'm Marina. I'm an immigrant too. I came from Ukraine in 1989, fixing my camera here. And I'm an immigration attorney, someone who's been going to courts and USAS interviews and fighting with the US consulates. And I'm admitted in 2 states and the US Supreme Court. And I decided to do this, and I started this a few years ago because I want people out there to not talk to consultants and notarios and paralegals. I want you to be talking to a lawyer who follows the news and who understands what's going on. And I'm here to break things down for you in an easy conversational manner so we can discuss the news, we can talk about social, political issues, everything to do with immigration. And if you've been following this election, that's still like shocking everyone in so many ways, a historical election, then you know that immigration was in the top 3 reasons why this country elected President Trump for a second term. Okay, number one, economy. Let's be honest, economy was the number one reason people wanted to get rid of Biden because American people, including immigrants, including people like myself who are citizens but originally were immigrants, including everybody who was here for generations, including everyone, have started to feel like the money they were making as of a year ago is like not enough anymore to survive in this country. And of course, they're blaming, rightfully or not rightfully, there's debates about that, the president. And the president was Biden, and the vice president was Kamala Harris. So, number one reason why Trump was elected was definitely the economy, but I believe that the number two reason was the immigrants. The immigrants that the borders were just opened and we were flooded with, right? We were flooded as a country with immigrants. Many people feel it was too much. The cities have changed in front of our eyes. There's videos on TikTok of gangs being in the Roosevelt Hotel where the new immigrants are housed, and we are seeing them. If you live in New York, and I live in this area, you see them on the streets. It's become dangerous once again. I remember when I just came to United States in 1989, in the 90s, when we still had Mayor Dinkins. It was dangerous to go down to 42nd Street. You were afraid to get a pickpocket, and you were afraid to be attacked. But guess what? For many years under Giuliani, under Bloomberg, it became safe, it became clean, it became nice to go to the city. And now it went back to the way it was. It's a big city, there's all kinds of people here. So it became dangerous again. People are seeing this, they're very angry that the hurricane hit Florida, that hit South Carolina, North Carolina, and Texas. And people suffered. American people who were born here, grew up here for generations, and they got like a few $100s to help them from FEMA. But the immigrants in New York City were getting thousands on those little dental cars they were getting. So that really bothered the nation. And make no mistake about it, immigration is now the number one priority in many political circles, and it's been for us here, right? So I think I'm on the right track. We've been talking about all this for years, and we will continue to talk about this. But of course, I'm a lawyer, so I will tell you about all the legal things, and I'm welcoming you. Please post in the comments where you're watching me from, and then as a separate comment, ask me your question about immigration. Of course, I cannot, and I'm not allowed to give you legal advice in this format, where I'm talking in a live show. But if you'd like a consultation, you're watching me on YouTube or on Facebook, my number's on the bottom of the screen. On Instagram, just click on my profile. My contact information is there. Our team will be happy to get you a consultation. Now, my personal great news this week, I have to go to TikTok, and if you're watching me on YouTube or Facebook, you're going to be able to see this, but unfortunately on Instagram, you're just going to have to go into TikTok separately and look at it yourself. One of my videos has gone truly viral. Like I have never, ever had a video like this. It's almost 1 million views, you guys. And of course, not everybody was watching. Give me 1 second so I can find this TikTok, because I have 3 platforms. One of my platforms is I blocked one of my videos, and I just was so mad that I started like a second channel. So I'm gonna share my news right here on Instagram. You won't see this. I'm sorry, but you will see this on
groups
on
most at
my
risk for
on
deportation.
my
I'm
platform
Marina
on
Shepelsky,
YouTube
U.S.
and
immigration
on
lawyer for over 20
TikTok.
years.
So
And
this
today I'm
video that I'm
discussing
showing you
most
right
at
here
danger
has
for
900
immigration once
and
Trump
something
begins his
thousand
presidency.
views over here.
So
And
those
in that
4
video,
groups
I talk
are:
about the
number
4
1,
groups of
anyone
immigrants.
convicted of criminal
And
offenses,
I had to turn off the
especially if
sound.
it's not your first strike. If you've had multiple convictions, you are
Right.
number
So
1 on the list of
that's what
deportation.
happened. I posted a video, and I will repeat it here for you guys, of course. I posted a video about the 4 groups of immigrants that are most at risk for deportation under Trump. I posted it. I made the video on Sunday. I was home with my kids, and I just like sometimes get the inspiration out of nowhere. It comes from God. So I was like, hey, let me record this video. By the way, saying hello to Rosie Jane. Post in the comments where you're watching me from so we can have a conversation. Ethiopian Joseph says, how are you doing today? And all the team members over there. We're doing great because one of our videos just went viral. So I made this video on Sunday. I was with my kids watching TV. All of a sudden, I got this idea. I was like, oh, I bet you everybody wants to know who's most at risk of Trump. So I ran outside. Literally, I put my phone, I didn't even have any like setup. I just like have an outside table, and there's a pot where the plant died a long time ago because I just don't have time. I'm working on it. So I put the phone on the pot, like leaning against the pot. I sat down, like my hands were greasy, whatever. I'm on the weekend with my kids, and I just recorded a 1-minute video, 2 minutes, about the 4 groups of immigrants who are most at risk when Trump becomes president, right? It's not even an if anymore, it's when, January 20th. The first group is anybody with a criminal background. If you have a conviction, especially if you have more than one criminal conviction, and of course, certain things like that are misdemeanor, even a felony at state level, those are real crimes and really serious on federal level, many of them, right? Some people tweet things down. The federal government doesn't care about that. So many states and federal laws is a little different for crimes, but many states will even look beyond what you went down to. They will look at what you were accused of in the criminal complaint, and they will count that against you. So I talked about that. Number 1. Number 2, anybody who has a deportation order, like you already went to immigration court and you already lost. If the judge had signed an immigration court order of removal or some open order of exclusion, deportation, whatever. If you don't have right now some sort of a motion to reopen, a motion to stay, if you don't have like a pending VAWA, a pending or you or some family petition of an ocean state, you're going to be at risk. You're already deported. Okay. Number three group is anybody who came in through the border under Biden, who didn't have any humanitarian parole, who doesn't have status. Okay, you are either in removal proceedings already, or you can start removal proceedings against you. I know people like that, but guess what? You don't have any status here, and unless you file for asylum or something, even then you're in danger. Okay? And the last group is anybody. This is the fourth group, right? Anybody who is here unlawfully, came with a visa or without. Some people went to the border and never filed for anything. Maybe you did try to file, it was denied. Right now, you don't have anything in the works. You're in danger if this happens. And on Monday this week, 2 days ago, Trump had gone on the news and confirmed that as soon as he begins, like the first day of his presidency, he's planning to declare a national state of emergency with illegal immigrant problem. Okay? And he will use the national military, federal military, the state militias, the state national guard to help him deport people by the millions. And the four groups that I named are like on top of his list. Now, he's always talking about deporting criminals. I think it's obvious that he's going to start with anybody who has it means if you are afraid to file, if you've been putting off filing some case, please call us. We can talk about what you can file for, even if it's not like the best case in the world. Maybe to survive these 4 years, you should file something. And I have never ever said this before. And you can go back and rewatch my shows. I have never said this before. I'm usually the one who says, look, if you don't have a great case, I don't want you to deal with it. But now times have changed. So my position right now, because of what's happening, is even if you don't have the best asylum case in the world and you're filing late, file for asylum. See what happens. Perhaps where you're coming from, the situation has changed for the worst. In some countries, things have gotten much worse since you left. That could be a reason to file after 1 year. Maybe you didn't have a good lawyer and you didn't have good advice, or they missed the 1 year deadline for you. Again, we can try to file. You'll be waiting for a while before anybody even looks at your case. You'll get a work permit for 5 years. And I'm not saying make up a fake case. You might have a story that's worth a try. Okay? Anybody who's been thinking about filing for a marriage case, even if you need a waiver, file it. If you've been thinking about VAWA, you were in a marriage to a U.S. citizen or green card holder, and that marriage went badly, file. Another piece of news today, by the way, I didn't have a chance to record last night because I read about it late, is that anybody who files for VAWA and green card, both, sometimes now they will start interviewing. Now, that's been a thing for years. They've interviewed people who have filed for VAWA and getting green cards for many years. Again, I've been practicing almost 21 years. I've seen this before. But because of COVID and under Biden, they stopped interviewing anybody who has an approved VAWA and doesn't have crimes. So if you have a green card in the works and you are approved for VAWA and your green card is based on that, they were interviewing. They were just sending everything. It's going to change starting in December. Okay, so they're already thinking in immigration. They're already planning since Trump became the president to start making things worse. So now is the time to start dealing with this. People are saying hello. Mohammed Kalami on Instagram says, hi, ma'am, how are you? Malak Tariq says hello, hello. Habibur 6342 says, hello, dear, how are you? Rania Basalia is watching from US, but he's originally from Lebanon. Welcome. How are you from Henry Gemesio? Hello. I want to say hi to all of my friends here who are watching. Hello from Ngozi Jane. Hi, Jane. How are you? From Maryland. Ngozi is from Maryland and watching us from Maryland. Hello. Lots of questions already. I'm going to get to them very shortly. I promise. I'm almost done with the news. I think everybody knows that Trump is planning to deport people. I already talked about this today. Some other things that I think will go away, no more under Trump, canceling. Trump will cancel PD. I'm sure of it. It wasn't around the first term. That's going to go away. PD is prosecutorial discretion. And when I say PD or prosecutorial discretion, I and all the other immigration lawyers, we refer to the power, the decision making trust that judges in immigration court and the ICE attorneys in immigration court have to close some cases, dismiss them, or terminate when you don't have a good chance to win. But maybe you're not the worst person. You don't have crimes, you're a good moral person. Maybe you have a US citizen kid, so you have some way in the future to legalize. They're busy, their calendars are like inundated by those cases from the border. So they were willing to close and dismiss many cases like that. And we've been using this nonstop for the last like 2-3 years. That's going to go away under Trump. No more PD. Asylum in court will become harder. I think they're going to go back to the idea that you're going to have to prove what's called nexus. Nexus is when you have to show that the government prosecuted you, persecuted you, abused you directly. Not so, like, in other words, social group is going to become a really weak case. Like, if your whole asylum case is based on being like a woman, witness of a crime or something, that's really going to go badly for you. The other groups that will stay, okay? Some other things, I think public charge will come back very strongly under Trump's first term. Every family petition had to show that it's not just the sponsorship and the affidavit of support by the petitioner. Okay, that's important. That's still going to be a thing. But now a new thing that showed up was a form that the beneficiary, the new person coming to the US, the immigrant, had to fill out to prove when they come here, they're not going to be getting free insurance like Medicaid. They're going to be working, they have education, they have assets, they have money of their own. So when they come to America, they're not going to just rely on their sponsor and the US government for money and for benefits. Okay. That's coming back. I think they're going to start vetting, a little bit more, even than they have been vetting for marriage cases and stuff like that. But at the border, right? They're definitely going to close down the border. I think they're going to shut down CBP-1 as a means to apply for asylum, or at least maybe it won't be shut down, but they will have restrictions on it, and they will make you wait in Mexico, which more or less is now what's happening. It's going to be more strict, and they're going to be denying everyone, and they're not going to be letting people in the way they have been. At some point, somebody did statistics under Biden. People who applied and came in through CBP-1, like 90% were approved. Okay, almost everybody was getting in, and there's no way they're going to keep that under Trump. That's going away. So that's the story. But the things that people are most interested in, I don't think will happen. Like, people are most interested in cutting down the times of processing with immigration. I don't think it's going to happen, because if they have to do more vetting, more checking, it's going to get longer and not shorter. Not going to happen. Okay. Not. I don't think we will see more family petition visas, family visas. I don't think so at all. I think it's going to be less, not more. I think there's going to be more denials for a lot of things. But on the other hand, he has talked about giving green cards to people who have an American higher education degree. Maybe somebody who's here on like a student visa has a big chance of getting a green card now. So maybe some new status. And then he said he will cancel all Biden's executive orders. We will see how that goes down. But this is all I'm going to say about the news today. Write me where you're watching me from. Make one comment about that. I want to give you a shout out. And then separately, ask me your question, and I'm going to get right into it. The first, Temitoki Joseph says, good morning, my lovely lawyer. And Kwaku Anani says, good morning, super lawyer. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much. Temitoki Joseph says, please, if someone has cancellation of asylum and now have VAWA application pending, can that person travel with advanced parole to overseas? Okay, if your case was dismissed or terminated and you have the court order and you have a valid advanced parole while your VAWA and I-485 green card are pending, Yes, it is safe to travel, but please, please be very careful. They could stop you and harass you coming back to US. Make sure you bring your court order dismissing your case with you, your original court order. Another question is from Kwaku. Can an RFE request for evidence for adjustment of status also work permit? I just pause in work permit for advance parole if it's not responded to on time. Yes and no. Just by itself, no. But if you miss it and they deny your adjustment of status, then yes, your work permit and advance parole will both be denied because the adjustment of status is the underlying manifestation here that gives life to your work permit and advance parole. So the timing here is very important. Temitopi Joseph always says he wants to meet me one on one. Hi. I hope so too. MG Tariqul Islam says, if I came here with a visitor visa, this is a shout out to Facebook. Thank you for asking. If I came here with a visitor visa, B1, B2, by someone's invitation, can I now change it to work visa inside US? How long do I need to stay here? You have to switch. You don't have enough time to get a work visa. So you could switch to a student visa, and remember, most student visas do not give you a right to work at all. So you could switch to a student visa without a right to work while you're waiting for your work visa. That's possible. Okay. Kulik Lubov says, will it be safe to travel outside of US with advance parole based on TPS to be admitted back to US and then have an adjustment of status in the future? Yes, it will be safe. For now, the TPS advance parole stands. That's another thing that came under Biden. That's pretty new. Like it happened this, I think, last summer. And that hasn't been a thing. TPS never had advance parole before last summer. But for now, I think they're going to keep it. I don't think that that will go away. Jazzy Khan says, I have intent to take off from court calendar. Now VAWA is approved. Okay, so your lawyer should send a motion to terminate your case as soon as possible while we still have time. Hopefully it will be terminated from USCIS. But if that doesn't happen, if they say no, it's not the worst thing. If you don't have any crimes, hopefully you could just get your green card by asking the judge to give it. And it's possible the judge will have to schedule you for a court hearing, a short one, to have like a little mini interview for a green card through VAWA approved. And congratulations, Jazzy. Congratulations. Moonlight says, if I came here with a B1, B2 visitor visa, okay, so I think I already responded to this. Jahangir Alam says, hi, I applied for the I-601A waiver and parole in place. Now will I have any problems under Trump, I guess? Hopefully not. We'll see. Hopefully not. Marcella says, what are your thoughts about his ideas for denaturalization? I think from everything that he mentioned, it's the least likely to happen. I know people have tried before. It's going to be super hard. I think under Trump, the first time they did create some kind of a department for this, like denaturalization department, but that never went anywhere. So I think the chances are low. Other things are more likely to happen that I recorded the video about that went viral, and also what I talked about before. Charles Fowler says, good morning. I'm waiting for my K1 fiance visa for my fiance and her 2 kids. She had her interview at the Panama U.S. Embassy in Panama on August 26th, and they had one problem, which is my age. So there's a big age gap. The petitioner, who is the U.S. citizen, is 77. I assume the fiance, since she has young kids, is younger. So there was an issue from it's not approved yet. They're going to investigate and they're going to let you know. Okay. Michael or Michelle Tete says, I had an arrest case which was dismissed and expunged. There was no trial. Then I got married to my U.S. citizen spouse in August 2024. Will I be on the radar for deportation? No, because your thing was dismissed. That's good. Sam Pat says, everyone who watched my recommend to Marina is my case she's handling. She will apply for my work permit next week. So nice service. Thank you, Marina. And question is, will there be a problem under Trump for people with pending asylum? Thank you for writing, Sam. I'm happy to be a lawyer, and thank you for writing. Uh, I don't think people who are in status will have a problem. If you have pending asylum, you are in status. I don't think you're going to have a problem. Last time there was no problem. Nobody bothered with pending asylum. So I think I'm going to record a video and I'm going to talk about who is not going to have a problem under Trump. People with pending asylum, people with green cards and U.S. citizenship are definitely not going to have a problem. I don't believe in this denaturalization BS. I really don't. But we'll see, It still surprises us. Okay, Idris Shiza says, my friend and family came to visit. His family got I-94, but it's not showing up for him. How can he get it? Uh, I don't know. You can write to the CBP point where he entered and say that he came in at such and such date. Hopefully, he has a stamp in his passport and ask about it. But generally speaking, the I-94s are in a system that you can check online. Literally, Google find my I-94, and if you put in your passport number, your name, the country you're from, your date of birth in the format they ask, usually 99.9% you will find your I-94. Pratik on Instagram says that you are great, Marina. Thank you very much. And Pratik says, I came here with an illegal entry, no visa. How can I adjust my status? I now have a CO8 work permit. So, Kartik, the CO8 work permit means you filed for asylum and you're waiting for asylum. So I would stick with that because the asylum will get you a green card. However, if you try to marry a US citizen because you came without a lawful visa, without a visa, you're going to have a hard time with the marriage or getting any documents. You will need a waiver, and that's not easy to get. So I would just stick with your asylum case. You file for it, stick with your asylum case. Okay. Junior June says, does VAWA case have an entity? The VAWA itself, no, but most people, of course, only file for VAWA because they're also filing for a green card based on that. So the I-485 will trigger now, starting in December. That will trigger an interview for some people. And of course, they're saying that that doesn't necessarily mean that you had fraud in your case. That doesn't necessarily mean you will get denied, but they will start interviewing people who filed for both VAWA and I-485 application for adjustment of status green card. So that's coming up. Thank you for asking. By the way, thank you for asking. I just talked about it, and thank you for asking. I was able to demonstrate how this interviewing thing is going to work through your question. Thank you, as usual, for watching. I have a question from Mike. Mike says, I have a question. I applied for asylum as a gay. Then I got married to a U.S. citizen. I think you mean a woman. Will it affect my applying for a green card? Okay, they will definitely ask you because this is a broad trigger, okay? A red flag, if you may. If you filed as LGBTQ, it's important to know exactly what you had put in your case. Now, we have a lot of LGBTQ clients, and when we file, we make them, kind of define it somewhat and say I'm bisexual or I'm gay, but I've had relationships with the other gender too. And if that's true and you get married, the fact that you filed for LGBTQ asylum doesn't mean they will automatically deny you, but be prepared and your spouse should be aware of your background because you don't want to be like the guy I saw today on TikTok. And there's so this guy's a comedian, so he always plays these interesting situations out where he says, because he has an accent. I don't know if it's real or not. He's black and he has an accent, and he is in an interview. Supposedly, he's pretending to be at an interview with immigration. He is a black immigrant applying for his green card, and his wife is a white American lady, no accent. So the interviewer says, "This is your fifth marriage. That's why we want to interview you, ask you a question." And the wife says, "What? I'm your fifth wife? You told me you were married before, but I didn't know that it's 5 marriages." And then he, like, very finally says, "Anything before 5, it doesn't matter. It's one." And so you don't want to have this situation that your spouse doesn't know and is shocked and surprised if you have an interview that you filed for asylum and you said and you were LGBTQ in the past, right? So as long as that doesn't happen, you're fine. I've had clients who started as asylum switched to marriage to the gender, were able to address it, and it's fine. Okay, but both men and women, and anything in between. Okay, Josh 109864 says there is a chance. Is there a chance that President Biden grants amnesty for some immigrants? I don't think so because first of all, Congress that people who are supposed to make laws like amnesty in the U.S. is the Congress. Okay, so I don't think that Congress would ever agree to this. And if President Biden does an executive order, remember what I just said earlier. Trump said as soon as he takes office, he's going to cancel all Biden's executive orders. So it's not going to happen. Altaf Shaikh says, I came to US in 2014 with a B1, B2 tourist visa. And I did overstay my visa. And now I have 3 kids in the States who are US citizens. What should we do now? What can help my family? Okay, so if you're in US with kids born here, like this guy, very nice for asking. Thank you for asking. And you're here 10 years or more, file for asylum as a tool, as a means to get in front of an immigration court and request cancellation of removal under 42D. Okay. Follow me on TikTok. I have a lot of videos about cancellation of removal there, and of course here as well. So anybody who's in the States more than 10 years with US born kids, you will have to demonstrate that the kids have a medical issue or some other hardship that will not allow them to follow you if you get deported to your country. And if you win, and if you live in like a good state like New York, if you live in California and you're go to San Francisco, Sacramento, your court is in Boston, Chicago, you have a great chance to get a green card. If you live in Texas or Arizona, you got to move. If you live in Florida, you got to move as your case gets closer to court. But you'll be fine living where you live for a while. So that's what you should do. Talk to a lawyer, call us for a consultation. But I think generally speaking, that's probably one path that might work for you. Okay. Let's go to Instagram. Narjurul 1835 says, Masala, very beautiful. I'm from Bangladesh. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much for asking the questions. I think this is all I have for today, you guys. Anybody who missed the beginning, you can go back. This will be on the YouTube channel, on my Facebook law offices page for a while, and you can watch this on Instagram as well in replay later when you have time, if you didn't have time to watch it live today. Thank you so much. I love you all for watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful for my followers. Thank you for giving me the questions because I love your questions. It gives me a chance to talk about the things that I love to talk about, which is immigration law and the cool solutions to your immigration problems. Thank you very much. See you next week.